McGrath.
I want to inquire about the RRD funding for towns in Tipperary, namely Carrick-on-Shore, Cardonisi, Care and Roscrea. And these schemes, as we know, we have had funding from the URD and in many of our towns, but these are rural towns. And since they lost many services, they need this funding for these regeneration schemes. And I want an update on the matter, please.
Mr. Humphreys.
Thank you, and thanks, Deputy. Funding of €279 million has been approved to date under the Rural Regeneration Development Fund for 191 projects nationwide, costing over €379 million. Calls for applications to the fund are sought under two categories, Category 1 and Category 2. Category 1 relates to large-scale, ambitious capital projects with all necessary planning and other consents in place which are ready to proceed. Category 2 provides smaller grant funding to enable the development of the project proposals suitable for future calls for Category 1 applications. The third call for Category 2 applications was completed in January 2022. I announced funding of €21.5 million for 27 projects from this call, including €1.2 million for the Rialto Digital and Enterprise Hub project located in Neenah. The fourth call for Category 1 applications to the Rural Regeneration and Development Fund closed on the 29th of April 2022. My department received 42 applications to this call, together seeking funding of over €149 million. I understand that 3 applications for projects located in Tipperary were submitted for this call. The application process for the fund is competitive in nature. Applications are currently being assessed by my department under the oversight of the Project Advisory Board, comprised of representatives from key government departments and independent experts. Once the assessment process is complete, my department will prepare a report setting out recommended projects, and my role as Minister will be to consider that report and make final decisions in relation to the allocation of funding. And I expect to be in a position to announce the successful projects in the coming weeks.
Thank you, Minister, and thank you for your reply. And I do thank you also for visiting Tipperary. You did visit Carrick-on-Shore and indeed Clonmel and Tipperary town. I went on to some towns in North Tip. Yes, towns like Neenah have got major funding. We don't begrudge them that. But these towns, Carrick-on-Shore, has been devastated for lack of industry for decades. And indeed, Care is good employment, but it's a local, beautiful town. Indeed, the new king had visited there early in spring this year. So it's a big tourist town, and the developer there, the county council, put huge work into it for a car park and redevelopment of the square. Now, everybody mightn't agree with it, and I have my own concerns about the parking issues. But look, that and Roscrea then has to be also a town that's been hammered and hasn't got any major investments. And these are the kind of towns that this scheme now, as I said, is Category 4, must get some of this funding because they're falling off the ladder if they can't get the funding. So we can't have it all for the main towns. It's a rural development, as a fund just said, and it must. I look forward to a favourable outcome of those 3 applications that are in from Tipperary, of the 42 that are in nationally. So we hope that there will be good news for Tipperdown, good news for Carrick-on-Shore, Care and in Roscrea.
Minister.
Yeah, thank you. Well, can I just say, Deputy, Tipperary County has done extremely well to date and has received the 4th highest total county funding allocation from the fund since it began in 2018. So over €15.1 million in funding has been allocated to projects in Tipperary in that period. And indeed I was down, and indeed you were with me, Deputy, when I was down there, and it's wonderful the work that's gone on. I was in Clonmel, I was in Carrick-on-Shore as well, and I was on the Blue Way, and that's a wonderful connection there, and it's a real boost to that whole area. And I was in Tipperary town, and there has been good investment there, and it's only this year that I announced a further 500,000 for, I think it was for Tipperary town, town centre work as well. It was under Town and Village in February. So there's major development going on there as well. And I know there's 3 more applications in, and you know, as I said, they're being assessed. I don't see them until they come to my desk after they've gone through the process.
Thanks, Minister. Deputy McGrath.
Thanks, Minister. Yes, and you'll be welcome anytime to Tipperdown and to you know, and yes, I acknowledge we have been successful in funding in the major urban centres of Nina and Clonmel, but these rural towns, as I said, but this scheme is tailor-made for to try and bring the vitality back to them. And I know you will that you won't be disparaging the fact that we got 4th highest in the country. As you know, where Tipperary leads, Ireland follows was the old adage. And as I said, you'd be welcome any time to come back. And please God, you can come back and make the announcements of the funding for Carrick-on-Suir, Roscrea, and indeed my own town of Carter-Niski. So, and thank you for visiting the last time. I want to compliment the County Council as well, and the task force in Tip Town, and the groups in Nina, because without good applications, proper applications, a lot of detailed work, and you won't get any funding. So I must compliment all involved in the towns that have been successful, and for the present applications that have gone into. Enormous work has gone into them, and enormous, you know, I suppose enthusiasm. So hopefully that enthusiasm will be rewarded. Thank you.
Yeah, thanks, Deputy. And you're right there. Good applications have to come in. I can't give them except I get the applications. And for those towns that haven't got any funding in Tipperary, I would say that they should work with the local authority, because the applications, as you know, come in through the local authority. So, as I say, if I don't get an application, there's no chance of getting funding in that. But in terms of, I just see here, activating Cares Town Centre regeneration strategy, it's seeking funding of 0.9 million, and there's a number. I actually have them. Carrick-on-Suir is one of the ones looking for money, and reimagining and regenerating Gantley Street, seeking funding of 4.5 million, and then Cares Town Centre. Again, this is a fairly big project. It's looking for funding of 11.9 million, and it involves a number of interventions that will assist regeneration in the centre of the town and allow for significant future growth in the town, and includes refurbishment of prominent buildings to create an enterprise hub, a new library and public realm. So look at there are good, exciting projects or applications coming in from Tipperary. They're in the assessment process, and look, if the past record is anything to go by, you know, you've been very successful in terms of your applications. So we'll work on that.
Thank you.